Hello folks, and welcome once again to the Movie Mad channel. It's James here, and I'm yet again filming in the car. And I'm filming in the car because the bird is being a bit noisy, so that's why I'm doing it. And the reason for today's video is Seen Popcorn and Horrors and Roy's, that's Blue Roy Movies, video on movies in their collection that are based on a true story. The top 10. Well, these are all ones in my collection, and I've actually picked up 12 and brought them out. So you know what? I may as well show you the 12. So sorry, if you want to narrow it down to the top 10, then be my guest. But for now, these are the top 12. I'll say top 12 movies that are based on true stories. Some of them are loosely based on true stories, some of them are based on true stories in my collection. Now, I've just got these in a line here, and I don't have them in any particular order. Now, there were some great movies on Blue Roy Movies and Popcorn and Horrors list. So what I've tried to do is I've tried not to replicate those. So these might be 10 different ones. There are certainly ones in there, ones that I would really enjoy and are based on true stories, like Hacksaw Ridge, and there's 20 and Zero Dark 30, things like that. Now, they would have been on my list as well, but I've decided to try and keep it different. So if you're watching, I think quite a few of you watch all three of us, so that if you are watching these other two channels, we've got a different selection. So we'll start off with a movie that I find very rewatchable, and that is The Big Short with Christian Bale. And it's based on the 2008 financial crash, where one guy seen it coming and created a product via a bank to bet against the housing market. And as other people got involved in that, they seen how fragile the housing market was in America, and they investigated it, and it led to the collapse of all the banks. And the banks got away with it. Brad Pitt's in it here. The government bailed them out. The banks got away with it. And as far as I know, they might be starting to do the same thing again. So it's also got Steve Carell, Brad Pitt, Ryan Gosling, and Christian Bale in it, and it's a really, really good movie. And look, it says this is a true story. So I thoroughly recommend this one, The Big Short. Next, I have a 4K coming up, and it's a Ron Howard film, and it is Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, Ed Harris, and the guy who plays Lieutenant Dan, but I can't remember his name. Oh, and of course Bill Paxton is in this one. And it is Apollo 13. So it's basically the story of where Apollo 13's mission went wrong, and they had to get them back to Earth. They didn't know how to do it, and somehow they managed to do it. So that's Apollo 13. Next, now I'm testing my memory on this one. I'm pretty sure this is a true story. If anyone wants to correct me on it and tell me that's wrong, or at least it's definitely based on a true story, it's a movie that I have wanted in my collection on Blu-ray for a long time, and I managed to get it. I think I got the Spanish version, or did I? Yeah. And it's Bat 21 with Gene Hackman and Danny Glover. So a army colonel gets unexpectedly shot down in enemy territory, and Danny Glover, the pilot, has to guide him through hostile territory to get him back. So shouldn't have done that in front of my face, eh? To get him back home. And I've watched this one over and over again when it was on VHS. I had the DVD, but when I got the Blu-ray, I let the DVD go to CX because it was traded in for quite a lot, £8 or something like that. I think this cost, I'm not quite sure, but thoroughly recommend Bat 21. We now have another Gene Hackman film, and again, I said to my wife, is this based on a true story or not? And she looked up and she says it's loosely based on a true story. And that is another version, I think is Bat 21, but the roles reversed, where Gene Hackman is the one guiding Owen Wilson back through enemy territory in Bosnia when he gets shot down. Again, another very rewatchable movie, I find. So that is 4. We next get on to a story, again, a war movie. I think I've got a couple of war movies. I think I've got quite a few war movies in here, to be honest with you. And it's Midway. This is the Indicator release, and it's got Charlton Heston in it, and it's the Battle of Midway, where the Japanese aircraft carriers, I think there was 3 or 4 aircraft carriers were trying to take the Pacific island of Midway so they could launch use that as a base to get to Hawaii, to get to mainland USA. And because of Pearl Harbor, the US forces were limited, but they intercepted some intelligence that helped them guard Midway against that Japanese invasion, and that battle could be potentially the turning point in the Pacific War even. So I quite like World War II history and things like that, and I've watched this battle, and what is interesting in this battle would be one, is that some of the footage of them landing on the aircraft carriers is actual footage of planes from the war landing on the carriers. And I know that doesn't fit in with the Blu-ray quality and things like that, but as a part of history, I find that excellent. And I say that one comes with a nice book and nice chart on Heston as well. Not them thing in the thing at the moment. We're talking about 10 or 12 movies that are true stories in my collection. Next, we have favourite of mine, Erin Brockovich with Julia Roberts. Basically, this is a true story of Erin Brockovich, or based on the true story of Erin Brockovich, who, along with a lawyer, managed to expose a water company for poisoning a whole population. And again, I just find it rewatchable. There is one movie that I would really like on Blu-ray, and I'm not sure if it's a true story, and it's sort of, David against Goliath, and it is well, you can't get on Blu-ray in this. I even imported the German, but it's only got German titles on it, and that's The Rainmaker. Let me know if that's a true story, because that should really be on my list if it is. That, along, you know what, I should have brought out Lorenzo's Oil as well. Blu-ray, that's another one. Maybe I should do another video of 10 movies based on true stories in my collection. So maybe we'll save that for another time. So next one is Moneyball. It's the story of the Oakland A's with the manager, or the general manager, who's played by Brad Pitt. I can't remember his name in it, but I've actually watched this so many times, I don't know how I don't remember the character's name. It's Billy Bean. It says it on the back here. And basically, him and another person who gets into the organisation, played by Jonah Hill, get a run of 20 games unbeaten in the baseball championship in America, and that was unheard of, especially from a team that had such a limited budget as the Oakland A's. And it's a true I say this is based on a true story, and Billy Bean was offered, at the end of doing that, he was offered the I just see my dad walking in my house. He's going to give a card to my daughter because it's her birthday. We're going to have cut the cake in a minute, so maybe I'll need to cut this short. No, we'll just finish off. So, Moneyball, and basically gets offered a job at the being the manager of the Boston Red Sox and turns it down and still remains with Oakland A's, which, you know, integrity and all that. Next, I've got A Bridge Too Far. My dad's put me off by walking in there. So, A Bridge Too Far, again, the story of Operation Market Garden, where they try and capture 7 or 8 bridges all at once to end the World War II sooner, but unfortunately for the Allies, that mission fails. And that's why it's called A Bridge Too Far. I'm like, that's a pretty clever title, isn't it? It really is. Based on that, I wonder there is this guy, one of the army colonels, who's supposed to have said that this was just a bridge too far, but it's not. I'm going to pause for a sec. I was just saying about Dad, I'll be in a minute. So, there we go. Next one, again, I had to look this up, but it is a true story. And it's a story of Denzel Washington, who's an airplane pilot, who lands a plane with an incredible malfunction, and then they try and blame him for the accident because he is an alcoholic and he was flying intoxicated at the time. But, which nobody should be doing that, flying a plane intoxicated, but they said nobody else could have landed the plane like that. So there's no justification for that whatsoever, but there's also no justification for the company trying to blame him for the malfunction. So again, another movie that I really enjoy. We've got another Denzel coming up, and this is based on a true story, and it's Unstoppable with Chris Pine, about a runaway train and 2 train drivers who managed to stop it. And I like how it comes up at the end about the donut who let the train escape, and it says he is no longer working in the rail industry. Well, of course you're not after that, but you know, everybody makes mistakes. I'm the first one to make mistakes. So there you go. So that's Denzel Washington and Chris Pine in Unstoppable, another great movie. Now we come to a couple of movies that are based on true stories and I find highly rewatchable. And the first one of that is Hidden Figures. It's about the 3 black women who are calculators, or not just calculators. Calculators was a term of a job before IBM computers came out into the space industry, where they had to manually calculate flight trajectories and things like that. And the main character, I can't remember her name. Katherine Johnson is the character, who's played by Tyree P. Henderson, Dorothy Vaughan, Octavia Spencer, and Jen Morari, who becomes the first NASA flight engineer after having to go before a judge and get permission to go to a white-only school to take lessons to become a flight engineer. Kevin Costner's in this. Sheldon for The Big Bang Theory. Jim Parsons is also in it, and Jim Parsons plays quite a divisory character in it. Kevin Costner plays a boss, but he's a fair boss. And this is the story of how they helped John Glenn in his first flight, and I thought this was an excellent movie. I must have watched this about 10 or 15 times. So, highly recommend that one. And another one that I picked up and I had in my collection for the longest time and I never put it on, and then one day I did put it on and then realised what a good movie it is, and it's based on a true story, and it's 3 Billboards from Ebbing County, outside Ebbing, Missouri, and it's based on this lady who, unfortunately, his daughter is murdered. There is no solution to that, and she doesn't feel that the police are taking it seriously. So what she does is she hires 3 billboards to put pressure on the police, outside the county on a road that no one really goes down anymore, but she puts all her money together to lease them for a year, to put messages on it, to pressure the police into doing something about it. And the police were, to be fair, were doing something about it, but I think with that, then a solution came, and they keep trying to get her to take them down, and they don't, but it's an excellent movie. So that is my 12 films that are in my collection that are based on true stories. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any comments on any of them, then please let me know. There is one I would like to add to my collection that I don't have on Blu-ray, and it's Kevin Costner one. But I'll tell you what, I'll talk about that maybe on another 10 movies, true stories in my collection. So I thank you very much for watching. I'll leave you to it for now, and please comment on any of the movies. If I've got any of them wrong as true stories, then let me know, and what you think about them. And if you have seen any of these, what do you think? Thanks very much. I'll see you next time, guys.